Hey guys, it's Eric. It's Friday. You know that because I'm wearing red. You may say, hey, all your YouTube videos are red. Not true, but I do love these Red Friday videos. Today I want to talk to you about, before I forget, down here, subscribe. If you have not done so, hit that subscribe now button. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you can always get these videos as soon as they come out. It's awesome, right? But is there a limit on how much you can cash out of your house? Okay, I'm just gonna put cash out limit. That's the question for today. How much cash can I take out of my house? Now, we've talked many times about VA cash out loans. They're really the most generous type of cash out loan in the market anywhere. Yes, there are other loan programs where you can get cash out of your house, but you're limited. Okay, you're limited to, in most cases, 80%. Okay, 80% of your home's value. We've got videos about LTV, loan to value. Here's the deal with VA. You can get 100% of your home's value out in cash. Now, we're gonna get into this, but I'm just gonna say it right now in case you're wanting to get right to the punchline. If your home's worth $500,000, you can't take $500,000 out unless you owe nothing on it. And that's where LTV comes in. So let's just look at that. You need to understand LTV. You need to be familiar with it in order to know how much equity you can pull out of your house. So I'm gonna go over some examples. Trust me, just keep watching about how to calculate your loan to value and mathematically determine how much cash you can get out. But let's go back to this generosity from the VA, how generous these VA cash out loans are. We have to mention that there are some limitations to how much you can take out. We're going to dive deeper into that, into what some of these limitations are regarding your home's appraised value, closing costs, and how much money you're actually going to need. But let's first talk about the appraised value. Okay? You got to understand appraised value. Super important. I hope you guys can read that. My writing sometimes goes crazy. What you are allowed to take out is up to 100% of your home's appraised value with a VA cash out loan. That's the limit. You can't go any higher than that. 100% of your home's value, appraised value, is what you can take out. Now, when you get a cash out loan, your home's going to have a new VA appraisal. If you bought the home 2 years ago, we don't know if property values have increased or if they've decreased. So we have to determine the current market value. Sometimes homes depreciate. It's been a while, but if you were around back in 2008 during the housing collapse, there was extreme amounts of home price depreciation. Right now, homes seem to be appreciating. That's what we all want. And over time, look, I'm a real believer in the United States and the economy and real estate as an investment. Your home will, over time, certainly appreciate in value, but depending on when you're trying to refinance and pull that cash out, we don't know where we are in the long-term scheme of things. That's why that appraisal is so important. Now, in addition to the appraised value limiting what you can take out, there are other limitations based on closing costs. Okay, so let's talk about that. You may say, well, how do closing costs limit what I can take out? Well, if you want to take out 100% of your home's appraised value with a VA cash out loan, then you're not going to be able to roll in any closing costs into your loan. You may say, well, wait a second, how does that work? Well, keep in mind, every single closing cost that you roll into your loan would either push your loan to value ratio over 100% or it decreases the amount of money that you can get out. See, it kind of works both ways. Closing costs are part of your loan to value, so they will impact what you can take out. You'd only be able to roll in your closing costs if you wanted to reduce the amount of money you're going to take out. Vice versa, if you can structure your loan without closing costs, you're going to maximize the amount of cash you can take out. And we'll help you put that together when the time comes. So let's go into an example. Let's say your home is worth, I'm going to get myself a little bit more room on the whiteboard here. Let's say your home is worth $350,000. I like asking these questions even though I don't hear any of your answers. I just like to pause. So what do we call this if your home is worth $350,000? That's right. Somebody said it. That's what it appraised for. That's the appraised value. We like to use mortgage terms as we start becoming more educated. So you got an appraisal at $350. You owe $300. That's what you owe. That's the balance owing on your mortgage, okay? So this gives you $50,000 in equity. If you take 350 minus 300, you have $50,000 in equity. Now, you've got $7,000 in closing costs. What happens? If you tried to take out the full $50,000, you couldn't, right? Because you've got, oh, I didn't put it here. You've got $7,000 in closing costs. I'm just going to put a question mark. Like, what in the world are we going to do with that? Well, you've got two options. 50,000 minus 7,000 is 43,000. You can say, hey, you know what? I'm fine. $43,000 is going to allow me to put that pool in the backyard. That's what we were going to use this cash out loan for anyhow, and all is good to go. Your other option would be to say, hey, low VA rates, I need the full 50,000. What are we going to do here? Well, guess what? We can slightly increase your interest rate as an option and remove these closing costs. Well, why would we remove the closing costs? Well, if you take a little bit higher rate, you don't have to pay the closing costs. And then you can still get the $50,000 out. So that's one of the things you have to use a good loan officer for, to help you determine and navigate some of these little last minute quirks that you might have. Now, what would happen if your home appraised for $400,000? Trick question. It's really not a trick question. If it appraised for $400,000, you'd have $100,000 in equity. Your closing costs are not going to be impacted by your loan amount, not enough to worry about in this example, and then you'd be able to get quite a bit more money out. So it all comes down to this appraised value, really. So listen, I don't want you to take out more money than you need. So I'm going to put the third restriction up there. We're talking about what's the limit, what restricts the amount of cash you can take out. I do want to end the video on this note, because I think it really drives home what we stand for here at Low VA Rates. I'm going to put it in big letters because it's important. Don't take more than you need, okay? Now, you may say, that doesn't sound like a loan officer. Number one, I'm not a loan officer. I was years ago. But really, we've seen situations where even though the VA allows you to take 100% of your home's value, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should. Make sure you have a plan. If you're putting that pool in that I was just talking about, and it's only going to cost you $43,000 or $50,000, and that appraisal comes in at $400,000, you might say, oh, let's take another $50,000 and double the size of the pool, or let's take $50,000 and head to Vegas. We don't want you to do that here at Low VA Rates. We think it would be smarter to only take out what you need and then sit on that equity and let it continue to go up. Now, you may say, well, we do have some credit cards with high balances. Keep in mind, your average credit card rate here in the United States is over 20%. So even though you didn't plan on paying off those credit cards, if your home value comes in higher than what you thought because you're in an area with lots of appreciation, then yeah, you might want to say, let's take an additional $15,000 out. We have the equity to do it. We have the equity to do it, and let's pay off those credit cards. That would be a situation I think I would support here at Low VA Rates, but not just to go blow it. So even if your mortgage rate is on the higher end, let's just say to do this cash out and pay off your credit cards. And when I say higher end, guys, if you've been in the mortgage world as long as I have, my first home was at 8.25. We haven't been in the 8s for 20 years. Don't try to do the math. I'm really not that old. But let's just say you're going to get a 3.75, which a lot of people think might be high right now to get a cash out. And you say, oh, I don't want the 3.75. That's too high. Well, consider you're paying off credit cards that are up in the high 20s or low 20s, somewhere in that 20s. So just take it all into account and make a financially sound decision. So when you're taking out less cash out of your equity, you're also reducing the total amount that you're borrowing from the lender. Again, we always hope that lender's Low VA Rates, which in turn gives you lower monthly payments. So technically, even though you still can take out the full 100% of your home's value, what I'm summarizing here is don't take it if you don't need it. Always make the smartest financial decisions you can. So VA cash out loans, they're the best, most generous loans out there for tapping into that equity that you end up having at some point in your home. If you need the full 100%, go for it. If you don't do it. But when you're ready to start contemplating whether or not you should pull cash out of your house, we hope you give us a call. You can just put a comment under the YouTube video, say, hey, how do I get started? And we're responding to these comments, all day long, all the time. We love our followers. We love our fans. Thanks for your service. I hope you're wearing red, and we'll see you back here next Friday for another video full of knowledge. Thank you.